Hi, everyone. We are so thrilled to introduce one of our amazing tutors at the Progressive Center. Dominique has a great passion for helping students excel. So let's jump right into our conversation today to learn more about her and her approach to tutoring. So
Awesome.
welcome, Dominique. If you can tell me just a little bit about your background and what inspired you to be a tutor.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an engineer by trade. I went to the University of Guelph and I studied engineering both for my undergrad and for my master's. And I was always super interested in learning. I really liked math and science, and I have more of a passion for nutrition, but I decided to go the engineering route and I found a program that kind of combined food and engineering. So I ended up loving that part of my degree. And as a background, I tutored in high school as well, and I was always kind of teaching. I've taught swimming lessons in the past and piano lessons, and I just love learning. So when I graduated from university, I really missed being in school, and I felt like tutoring would be a really interesting way for me to kind of reconnect to that and get to feel like I'm learning through my students.
That's great. So what do you most enjoy about tutoring with us at the Progressive Center?
I think it's just so great to watch the students have light bulbs go off. It's
Mhm.
such a good feeling and so rewarding, not just for the student, but for the tutor as well, to see a student go from not understanding something to understanding something. And it helps me really feel motivated because it's kind of like a little puzzle for me to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to cater the lesson to be super individual to the student. And that's
Mhm.
just super rewarding at the end of every session.
Right, right. That's great. Can you share with us a success or story or a memorable moment you've had with a student that you've tutored?
Yeah, so this was one of my early students, and they came in during a semester where they were just not feeling super inspired with school. And I noticed that they didn't have that zest to even want to learn the subject because they didn't like it. And by the time that they finished, I had asked them how they liked the semester, and I had asked them for a testimonial, and they came back basically saying that they wanted to do whatever course they could do next semester with me. They wanted to do it with me because they just loved working with me so much. And then when they came to the next semester, there was a complete attitude shift. They were just
Mhm.
excited for every session. I think they just really settled in and learned to love the challenge. And that's exactly why I love to do what I do, because it just feels so good to see a student become excited to kind of just come to tutoring, hang out, and learn.
Right. And I think it's really great one thing that you just mentioned is that like in the beginning, they had like a lot of hesitation like with the subject and they were unsure and they didn't have a lot of confidence, but as they went through the sessions that they saw that they could really do work their way through the subject, and they started to like love the area that they were studying, right? So I think it's always great when we're able to kind of like turn those attitudes from like negative to like positive, and they're really enjoying it. I think that's one of the reasons why I love tutoring also too, is that they're able to kind of like shift their mindsets a bit.
Yeah, it's so nice to see that confidence build and then the mindset shift to go along with it.
Hmm. So how do you tailor your teaching methods then to teach like the individual needs of the students that you work with?
Yeah, so I like to get a feel for their learning style. I think just through experience, I can kind of understand if they're more of a visual student or if they need more examples. Some students prefer for me to demonstrate, and others prefer to figure it out on their own. So I kind of pick up a good feel for that. But something I like to do as a tutor is I like to just ask the students how they're doing during the session and if they have any feedback for me. So I'll often say, how's the pace today? Or are you liking this? Do you want me to take over for a little bit if I can sense that they're getting tired? And I just think keeping the communication open really helps the student feel like they're taking the lead in the session and they're getting the most out of the session because we're doing it in a way that really feels comfortable for them.
Right, right. And what advice do you have for students who might be struggling with their subject areas?
I love this question, especially just because I've struggled myself. For me, I've always struggled in sports. So I know the feeling of trying really hard and just not getting there. And a piece of advice I like to give students is to kind of just gamify it or turn it into a game and get
Mm.
competitive with themselves. and then keep track if they want to, keep score if they want to, but just turn it into like a little competition or a little game and include rewards at the end, whether it's like their favorite treat or whatever it might be for that particular student. And yeah, just gamifying it to build that motivation, and eventually the confidence, the understanding will come as
Mm,
you keep being consistent.
right, right. I think that's a great idea. I've never thought about turning, challenging myself into a game, but definitely I think that would be a great strategy for students to kind of keep themselves motivated.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dominique, for chatting with us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to share a little bit about yourself and about some strategies that you use with students and whatnot.
of course. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you so much.